of July, 2022. We'll ask the esteemed Pastor James Harper of the First Presbyterian Church to lead us in the invocation, and after that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Good evening. It's good to be with you tonight. Let's pray. Gracious Holy God, as we remember the words of the psalmist who writes, "The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell therein," we're reminded that we are part of that creation. For you formed us, you created us, and you look with joy upon us. And we pray that you would give us a vision for that and how we see one another, how we see our neighbors and ourselves, that we would demonstrate a kindness and a mercy towards one another, and make this place a place that honors you and honors the vision you've created us with, God. And I pray that these elders tonight, these elected leaders tonight, would have all the wisdom they need, the wisdom that is like gold and like sweet honey, to allow them to make the decisions and to form the right policies that would allow that kind of flourishing to occur in this city. We're grateful for them. We're grateful for the way you've gifted them in this time and and called them in this moment for this work. I pray that you would just infuse them with all the grace and the wisdom and the courage they need to serve you well here. And we pray these things in Christ's name. Amen. I didn't mean to call you elders. Those are my leaders, are called elders. It didn't mean you're old. I didn't mean to say that at all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. We'll take elders. Pastor Harper is good. Thank you. I'd like to welcome you to the city of Douglasville. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm mayor of the city, and this is our legislative work session. Business that we're going to discuss this evening will help us to make our decision next Monday when we have our voting meeting. So again, I'd like to welcome you. The meeting will go as the following. The committee chairperson, we ask that you'll come forward, make your presentation, and talk to the committee chair. That person will ask the questions. You can present to the applicant, or person representing the item can come and speak with the committee chairperson. And there is, for zoning matters, there are 20 minutes for those in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak. When you come to the podium, please give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to speak again in totality for during the meeting. And we ask that you would please be respectful of each other and not carry on conversations when you're at the podium, so that we can hear the information and make a determination on next week. I believe that's it. I don't have my paper today, so. But this is not a question and answer format or debate. We're just here to hear information, all the information, deliberate, and make our decisions again next week. And at the end of the meeting, if there is some information where the agenda item is not covered and you'd like to speak to us during citizens and delegates, we ask that you would come forward, please. Give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us about anything that's germane to the city of Douglasville. All righty. So now we will go through the agenda. There are agendas printed on the table outside, and or you can follow us on the screen. And if you'd like to speak, there are forms that you should fill out with your name and address. You hand that into our Assistant City Clerk, Ms. Candace Jackson, and then you can certainly talk with us. And if you have information to be distributed, hand that to her as well. She'll make copies and give them to us. Okay, now we'll move on. We don't have any other announcements or presentations, so we'll go to item number 5, which is Economic and Development Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Welcome.
Have 2 items under the Economic Development Committee at this time. The first is to adopt a resolution approving Relish Labs LLC's participation in the city's revised 2020 tax plan and authorize the mayor to execute all documents and certificates necessary to effect transactions contemplated by the resolution. Ms. Breezy Stratton and our illustrious
we're going to tag.
I'm looking at the, yeah, I did look at the right one.
You guys are the best tonight.
So good evening,
evening.
Mayor and Council and staff. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight to present this project. It's always a great opportunity when we have the opportunity to present projects like this. So Chris Pumphrey, Elevate Douglas Economic Partnership, 8512 Bowden Street, Douglasville.
Breezy Straighten, Elevate Douglas Economic Partnership, 8512 Bowden Street, Douglasville.
Thank you.
So this project there's two agenda items as it relates to this project. For Project Boost, which we have been affectionately calling it. And just to kind of give you, we are continuing the Project Boost. We have the LLC on the agenda item with the intention that once we kind of get through everything, that we would have a public announcement that would take place on Tuesday. So we're going to continue in the Project Boost vein, and all of us have been trained in that regard to maintain that until we have the perfect opportunity to do so. But one of the great things is oftentimes you all are approached with rezonings for various things, whether that's industrial or office or commercial or what have you. And our job, what we call that product, right? And product basically is the right type of real estate to work for particular industries. And it's a perfect marriage when we have one of our target sectors that comes before us with the perfect real estate where the two can marry and then hopefully come and create jobs in our community. And that's really what we have here today. This is a development that's development by the Oakmont Group. They developed this building, 181,000 square feet off of Skyview Drive in Douglasville, which is that Lithia Springs, Thornton Road area. So they started working on developing this building. This project was presented to us, and we were able to kind of match the two together. So we're really grateful to be here before you this evening to present the project to you in the hopes that it would be on the city's tax incentive plan. So with us tonight, we have Jordan Duggan and Craig Moore, who are representing the company, representing Project Boost. And if it's okay with you all, I would ask them to come up and just share a little bit about their company. I'm going to allow you to ask various questions about their company and their decision to locate here in Douglasville.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for having us tonight. I'm Jordan Duggan. I'm the Senior Director of Operations Excellence for the company behind Project Boost, and this is my colleague Craig.
Craig Moore, Director of HR Plant Operations for Lithia Springs.
Thank you so much. Could you give us your address as well? Your address? for the
Personal
company?
address?
No, the company.
2120 Skyview Drive,
Thank you.
Douglasville, 3005.
Thank you.
Thanks. Awesome. So the project that we're speaking to you about is Project Boost. This is going to bring Douglasville a brand new state-of-the-art production facility for ready-to-heat meals, prepared meals, and assembled meal kits. At the 2120 location, the building owner, Oakmont Industrial Group, has invested $13 million for a shell warehouse, which is currently complete. Our company is proceeding with an additional capital investment of $24 million. This includes $17 million investment to meet our standards for a food-safe operation, as well as an additional $2 million to build a kitchen for prepared meals, which is enabling a new product line for the organization. We will also be investing an additional $5.6 million in the coming years to expand that product line further. This facility is going to allow us to serve over 80,000 weekly customers throughout the entire Southeast region. So that includes Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Alabama. It is going to bring a total of 690 new jobs over the next 3 years at an average annual wage of $43,680. A little bit about the timeline. We are expecting operations to begin in September of this year. We do have a job fair scheduled on August 4th in partnership with Elevate Douglas. And we will also open the new kitchen for the ready-to-heat product line in Q1 of 2023. And I appreciate your support on this and welcome any questions at this time.
Well, thank you very much. This is very appreciated. Who's going to say, oh, it's kind of hard to struggle to find a downside to this one. I'll open the floor to the mayor and council members. If any questions anyone has or comments?
I have a brief question. All the numbers that what's the bottom line number? 37 million. I was trying to add while you were talking.
Yes, that would be $37 million.
Okay, 37,692 jobs.
690 jobs, yep.
Okay, this is great. I love seeing Breezy. When Breezy comes, I know it's good news. Not saying anything about you, Chris, I'm just saying. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for wanting to invest in the city of Douglasville. We really appreciate that. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know anyone else has questions.
Any other comments or questions from any other members?
All right. Appreciate it.
Can you, I had a quick question. Do you describe a little bit of what, you said these are meals that are like MREs that the military uses? Is that one of your products that you do for the Department of Defense, or can you
Nope.
not talk about that?
Nope, it's, we ship to people's houses generally.
Okay.
So typically, right now, we've done meal kits. We're going to be expanding into prepared meals that they don't have to actually cook themselves, go straight into the microwave.
Okay, I'm just curious how, what
Similar
the
to
product, a little bit about the product.
But no.
It's a chance for you to advertise here, you know. Madam Mayor.
Yes, I do have another question, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. And before Councilman Adams, I don't know who the last person is going to be. Are you all, I understand you're going to be here this evening and not on Monday? Is that correct?
We will have somebody here on Monday.
Yeah, we will have somebody here on this.
Okay, so we were going to take a photo. What you want to do, Breezy? Tonight? Okay. So if you don't mind, after you present, that we'll take a photo. And then when we do the announcement, if it passes on Monday, then we'll already have our picture.
Love it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes.
a quick question, and I may have lost my train of thought now, the age that I'm getting to. So that's the need for the kitchen that we discussed when we were talking about this building in previous meetings as far as zoning. Is that correct, staff? Can somebody help me with that? There was the need for a kitchen for a meal to actually be prepared on site
Correct.
and shipped out
Yep.
in lightning speed to be delivered hot to that home.
Cold
Okay.
to the home, and then they'll heat it up. But yes.
Okay,
correct.
okay, makes sense. Thank you very much, that's all I have.
I have
Yes,
one quick question.
Quick question.
What is your anticipated timeframe to be up and running? Yes.
September of this year, so it'll
Oh,
be
wow.
late September. Yep.
Great, thanks.
Any further questions? Madam Mayor, you want to do the photograph?
It's theirs as well, I believe.
okay, I got you.
And then we'll do
Okay.
a photo after.
All right, well, thank you very much. And we'll move on to item B, which is to adopt a resolution approving PME Oakmont Skyview LLC's participation in the city's revised 2020 tax plan and authorize the mayor to execute all documents and certificates necessary to effect the transactions contemplated by the resolution.
Yes, so thank you.
Pumphrey.
Once again, Chris Pumphrey, Elevate Douglas Economic Partnership, 8512 Bowden Street, Douglasville.
Again, Breezy Street and Elevate Douglas Economic Partnership, 8512 Bowden Street, Douglasville.
And Angel, good news.
I know it.
So without going through all the legalese, because of this particular project is going into a building that is owned by a developer. And so the incentive plan is based on the building and the equipment. So the breakdown that Jordan gave, the 13 million and the 24 million. So it's on real estate and equipment. And so in order for that to take place, Oakmont will still be the owner of the building. And so in essence, the incentive is for both the real estate and the equipment based on the jobs created by Project Boost are a part of this incentive plan. So that's why it's two different agenda items, both for the same property, but in essence, same project, but in essence, you have a property owner being Oakmont and then the equipment owner being Project Boost.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Mayor
Just want to make sure, Mr. Chairman, so, Mr. Pumphrey, basically what you're saying then is the total investment remains as to what we heard in item A.
Yes, sir.
So that is the numbers that we are basing the tax abatements on. It's
Yes,
not double that.
Correct, correct.
Okay,
It
one is the
it's-
real estate owner leasing to Boost.
Correct.
And the combination of the two is $37 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure we're all online with that. Thank you very much, appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilman. Additional questions, comments? I see none. All right, well, thank you for bringing this good news to us. We appreciate it. It's
Our pleasure.
keeping Douglasville one of the hottest markets in the region. Appreciate it.
And we appreciate you all's leadership and your support of what we do in economic development and giving us the opportunity to do things like this. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And counsel, if you don't mind, please, we'll come around so that we don't have to hold the applicants. for the entire meeting, so we'll just come around and take a photo.
All right. On the count of three, 1, 2, 3. Let me take a couple others. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Thank you all so much. And again, for clarity, as Councilman Adams has brought to my attention that it was not approved tonight. We're just taking the photo. If we approve it on Monday, then we'll be ready for the press release on Tuesday. If not, then we'll just have a photo for the archives. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for pointing that out.
Yes, sir. So we'll move
well-
on then. That's all you have? Oh.
Well advised, yes. That is all I have under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on then to item number 6, which is Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Housing and Community Affairs Committee, Vice Chair is Councilmember Mark Adams.
No business tonight, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No business tonight, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Councilman Davis. Personnel Organization Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight.
Yes, sir.
Item A is to authorize the mayor to sign the third amendment to the medical services agreement with Care Here Management, PLLC, to provide on-site medical services to city retirees and retirees' dependents. We have Dr. Brian Westfield to come forward and share what he has for us tonight.
Dr. Brian Westfield, HR Manager, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. Madam Mayor, council members, good evening. I'm here to present on the third amendment to the medical service agreement with Care Here, also known as Premise. This amendment expands service eligibility for roughly 113 personnel. That's the retirees, their dependents, and spouses. So if this is signed, it will grant them privileges effective the 18th to use the Wellness Center. Lastly, based upon the current usage data, there's no need to change hours or extend days or add additional staff. Any of your questions? That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Westfield. Any comments, Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Westfield, that was going to be my question, so I just want to hear it again in my, sometimes it's the third time's a charm when you keep saying something. So based on, if we bring on the 118 retirees, their spouses and their dependents, we're going to have the capacity with the nurse and the physician that we have. I think we have two physicians, Dr. Ramson and another physician.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So we have, of course, Dr. Ransom and Ms. Hendrickson, the nurse. So looking at the current data usage right now, currently there is no need to extend days or hours or additional staff at this time.
All right, that sounds, retirees going to put them to work maybe. We'll see. I'm not saying anything. I'm just not saying anybody's old or anything like that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Any other comments or questions?
I'm burying myself.
We're just standing there holding the shovels while you...
I know.
Any other questions or comments? Dr. Westfield, did you share what the overall cost will be adding the, or is there a
Yeah,
number
at the
to
very
that?
last attachment, there was a breakout, so it's roughly $19 per retiree. So the cost is only for that retiree, not the dependent or the spouse. It's only for that retiree.
Right.
So we're adding roughly 80, 85 retirees right now.
Okay.
So I think that number is $19. I think they might have did it about 104 times 12 months.
Okay. Well, it's a welcome addition to our benefits, so appreciate it. If there are no other questions, if it would be all right with council, I'd like to add this to the consent agenda for Monday.
Looks like it's a go.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Westfield.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that's all I had tonight under Personnel and Organization.
Thanks so much, Coach, and thanks, Dr. Westfield. We appreciate the report. We'll move on then, yes, sir, to Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Planning and Development Committee has 4 items tonight. First item, consider a request for development plan approval for the Chestnut Grove Single Family Development, 13.293 acres on Van Zant Road in land lots 902, 903, 909, and 910. District 18, Section 2, Parcel 18, parcel ID number 092021820018. Plans dated May 2nd, 2022. Application by Bowman Consulting Group Limited Incorporated, and Mr. Marcus Thompson is going to help us with that item.
Good evening. Marcus Thompson, City Engineer, 6701 Church Street. The applicant, Bowman Consulting Group Limited Incorporated, is seeking the development of a residential project per the City of Douglasville, UDO Section 10.07, for a property located at Van Zant Road and land lots 902, 903, 909, and 910, District 18, Section 2, and Parcel 18. The proposal before you depicts a townhome development with a total of 122 units distributed between 19 structures ranging from 4 to 8 townhomes each. The site plan indicates access to the development from Van Zant Road. 1 car garage is proposed for 65% of the units, in addition to 2 car garages proposed for 35% of the units. A total of 20 on-street parking spaces are planned. Amenities include a fire pit, dog park, and green space. The proposed materials are cementitious board and batting, cementitious siding, cementitious fabricated stone masonry, and cementitious shake. Please find attached the application, site plan, building elevations, and material percentages. City staff has reviewed the application and attachments and has determined that the proposed plan meets the development requirements of the UDO. Staff recommends approval of the requested development plan. Also, I have Mr. Adam Baker, project representative, here to address any questions or concerns that you guys may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. You all can come forward, and if you have any comments or statements you'd like to make, if you'd give us your name and address for the record, then we'd love to hear from you about your development.
Hello, I'm Chris Whitley. I'm with Bowman, and I was here to answer any questions that you did have about the plan.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have 122 units, I think, is my counting correct?
Yes.
You have 1 entrance into this development.
Yes, that's correct.
Why? Why only 1 entrance?
We just have the 1 road to access. It has fronts of Van Zant.
You have, okay, you have about, I don't know, 15 or 16, something like that, units facing along Van Zant. You have a street coming around, it looks like called Sycamore Lane, I think, that tees into a street that parallels Van Zant. Why can't you continue that street through to provide a second entrance?
We were not required to have a second entrance, so we just
You're not required.
we didn't think we needed one.
I think it would make for a better traffic situation at that entranceway if you had 2 entrances into that.
Hey, Adam Baker, South Gilmore Street, Cartersville, Georgia. Mayor, Council, great to see you guys again. It's been a while since this past December. If you guys recall from that, we had, I think, 3 different meetings with you guys, and we've had multiple meetings with staff and council and provided a traffic study. And so when this all was determined and laid out and approved by you guys back in early December, it was determined that 1 road was sufficient for this project. And then And we've been in the entire time as well, meeting with the transportation department as well. We've had no one's recommended that, the traffic engineers, transportation, no one else has. So that's why we went this route.
Well, I mean, it's okay to meet the absolute minimum requirements. That's, you know, you can get by with that sometimes. I guess that's fine for some people. And I don't believe I was part of any of those meetings, so I'm coming to this a little bit new. I'm looking at, you know, my take on urban development and urban planning would suggest that a better development, a stronger development would be to have more than one entrance into a plan like this. And to, we talk a lot about connectivity as being one of the goals of the city. Again, I'm speaking for myself, but in my own interpretation, but we talk about a lot about connectivity and making places more pedestrian friendly. And what this amounts to is almost like a one big cul-de-sac, basically. I appreciate that you've got some circular streets in there. I'm not quite sure why that back end doesn't connect back up to the front end on the other side as well. You have one street goes into the back area, and then it creates its own separate dead end back there. It would seem to have made more sense again to take that, looks like Magnolia Circle, and connect it back up to the front area. But I really don't understand why you're not connecting at least two locations when you have enough width there. You have basically a city block distance. It's not like you would have two entrances right next to each other. You would have them separated by a decent amount of distance, and then if that one street continued all the way back, you'd have a much more efficient, a much better layout, and something that would provide, I think, a more attractive neighborhood for folks who live there, I think, or for potential folks. That's my take on that.
I'm sorry. We actually did have this discussion back in December, and you voted in support of the project then. And when we talked about that specifically, and I was kind of reviewing the notes of our meeting beforehand, one of the things that we actually discussed about when we talked about connecting these two streets, which you're right, it's a possibility to do that. But if you look there's a creek that splits here as well. And so when we were kind of walking through some of the design and things like that, to span that undisturbed buffer in space.
You'd have to have a bridge, is what you're saying.
I'm sorry, sir?
You'd have to have a bridge now, a second bridge, is that what you're saying?
Well, so to span that and to disturb more green space, so we have some people that say they want more connectivity, which I respect. I'm kind of the same mindset too. Whenever you can have connectivity, I think it's a great thing too. But then we have, on the other hand, people saying, hey, we desire more green space, less less curbs and gutters and asphalt and things like that too. And so when we were kind of walking through those questions and we were discussing that with you guys, that's how we had talked about that specifically was, that this allows for more green space, less curbs, streets and gutters, less trees knocked down through that area there. And so we think it provides a beautiful, if you go through there, the trees, the undisturbed areas, we think it's a nice amenity to the community versus having more asphalt going through the community as well too. And so while it does limit some of the connectivity internally, some people actually like the privacy of that as well too, and the less green and the more green space and the less asphalt as well. So
I'm not quite sure I understand the desire for privacy in a development filled with 122 townhomes that are all adjacent to each other.
Well, you'd be surprised at how people love to have a little, the end units that go up against an undisturbed buffer will be the first ones that people want in the community. So
I just don't understand that rationale, though, claiming that there's privacy issue, but I understand what you're saying. So you're offering that as a public amenity, that green space.
Yes, sir.
And you have a specific design for 5-unit townhouses. I'm only, okay, how many? You're showing these individual units, but I don't see individual units. I see all of them grouped. I mean, there are groups of 5, but then there are groups of 6 and 7 and 8 and so forth. Are those going to look like the 5 ones just extended, or are they going to look like those individual units that you're showing? Because those seem to be more brick. Well, no, there's no brick on those. So the individuals don't seem to have brick on them, but the groups of 5 have brick. You understand what I'm asking? The only grouping you're showing is the five units together, and then you have four units shown that are typical of or maybe 7 units that are individual units. But there are no individual units in this development that I see. They're all clumped together.
Yeah, I think the goal was to show kind of typical units and layout, and so there'll be a variety of units in there. We don't want them to all be the exact same throughout the community. So I think we provided a different variety of renderings and elevations of the approved materials that Marcus that he presented. And so we'll have a variety of that throughout the community, but those are typical elevations and units.
So the 5 unit is just simply, you're just showing as an example of.
That's an example, right? Just like, it's not like only the ones with 5 get brick, and then if it has 6, you get board and batten.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, that was
Okay.
just examples.
Okay.
I believe Mr. Thompson mentioned when he stated the applicant's information that there would be a combination of anywhere from 5 to 8 units connected. They are fee simple townhomes, is that correct? Okay, so there's 0 lot line townhomes between them. So the rendering that you have shown, then I would assume would be an example of how each of those will appear as far as the required exterior facades. All of them will have to come under that, the rules that we have in our UDO, okay? But that rendering would give an example of how a unit would appear. No single-family detached units. All of them are attached.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that is within our scope and requirement in our UDO, correct, Mr. Thompson? Okay. Others?
Yeah, and you're showing on the renderings, you've got 1-car garages and 2-car garages. Did you tell, I couldn't remember here if you said what your mix of 1 and 2-car garages is?
Yes, sir. So when the zoning was approved back in December, we went through that discussion of, a breakdown of different sizes and different units, and the council, you guys voted to approve a mix of units, 65% being 1-car garage, 35% being 2-car garage.
Okay.
And so we have those depicted on here, and we've made sure to follow that ratio that you guys blessed.
Page 7, top right corner of page 7 will give you the unit numbers that will be 1-car and the unit numbers that will be 2-car as far as those breakdowns. I just found it on that sheet. So let me interject or ask a question here. I realize and understand Councilman Miller's point as to entrances, but the only street that you have frontage on that would not then impair another neighborhood if you were to go to the east or to the south, or you couldn't go to the north that spans that road, you would be going through another neighborhood to get into the development if you so chose or had to have another entrance. But you do have the opportunity to have another entrance on Van Zant. It would just be on the top right corner of our plat. If you could make a 90-degree turn, you'd have another entrance on Van Zant. That was not required and was not discussed, correct?
I think it was only discussed internally amongst us. Again, they're talking about a second entrance on the Van Zant?
Yes.
That was, I think, discussed in front of this council. I remember those conversations, had it in my notes. And again, when we walked away from that, what we said is what we would do is we would work with staff, transportation, everyone, and we went back. Well, I think we had 3 different meetings with you guys, and this is what was approved. And again, I'm no traffic engineer, but we did meet with traffic engineers and everybody, and I understand your concern there, Mr. Miller, too, just because that's their recommendations. That doesn't mean you can't do more, but that's what they told us was sufficient for this area. I didn't get into the details with them on there's certain site distances between, sometimes you have different entrances and other properties and things like that too. It could be, and I don't know the answer to this because I wasn't prepared for this tonight, but can you have a second entrance here with sight lines and sight distances and things like that? I'm not even sure if you can or can't. I just know it was explored and talked about in this council. This is what was approved.
Well, my point was, it may be nice to have another entrance from another direction, but in doing so, you may then disturb another community in order to get in to this community.
That's
So,
for sure. Yes, I
so
understand
if
now.
you have, this has been reviewed and approved by the fire marshal. So the fire marshal and the fire department are okay with the streets. Our UDO approves, or it's approvable under our UDO as far as all the other elements of the development.
Yes, sir.
Correct, Mr. Thompson? Okay. Question, other question?
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting they try to go through another neighborhood or anything. My only suggestion was that the second entrance onto Van Zant.
Yes,
Yeah,
I see that.
But as Councilman Estes very eloquently said at one meeting previously, which was, I don't think we've ever met a traffic study that said you couldn't do that. So, that's all I have for now.
Okay.
Councilman Adams.
So basically, you would have two creek crossings if you came in with another connectivity point to the right through the
That's
creek, correct? Okay,
And we usually try to avoid multiple crossings. It's,
sure. Mitigation issues.
right, and it's just environmental.
Sure, I understand. Okay. Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for coming in and presenting to us. I did want to note to the council, and I'm sure you all see this, B, C, D, F, J, K, and L are all different renderings of the townhomes. They all look different. They have different windows and placements of doors and garages and all of that. But I did have a question, Mr. Chairman, when you talked about the fire department. I believe at our last council meeting, we had a multifamily development, and there was something about accessibility to a fire hydrant or some stipulation with the fire
I
department.
believe you're speaking
Can you
of
do
the availability of a fire department or an emergency vehicle to be
Yes,
able
sir.
to come in and turn around.
Yes, sir.
And you'll notice that these streets appear to be dead end, and I believe that the fire
Oh, so they
department
can
has
turn
said
around.
they can make a turnaround there rather than having a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
I believe that is the reason for them being laid out that way. Is that correct, Mr. Thompson? Okay.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
That answers my question. You know, my son's a new firefighter. He's going to have to, a rookie, so he's going to have a lot of practice to try to turn around in these cul-de-sacs. All right,
got
thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman.
Other points, other questions, comments? Okay. We thank you all. We appreciate you coming in, and we will take this up on Monday.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to item B, consider a request for development plan approval for the Quiktrip Development Number 1723 for 1.12 acres on Georgia Highway 92 and Durley Lane, land lot 52, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 2 and 12, parcel ID numbers 00520150002 and 12, for plans dated January 7th, 2022. Application by Quiktrip Corporation. Mr. Marcus Thompson.
Marcus Thompson, City Engineer, 6701 Church Street. The applicant, Quiktrip Corporation, is seeking the development of a non-residential project per the City of Douglasville UDO, Section 10.07, for a property located at Georgia Highway 92 and Durley Lane and land lot 52, District 1, Section 5, and parcels 2 and 12. The proposal depicts a convenience gas station and allowable use in the general commercial zoning district. The total building area is 5,312 square feet. There are a total of 31 parking spaces. The development will have 2 access points, a right-in, right-out driveway on Georgia Highway 92 and 1 entrance/exit on Durley Lane. The exterior elevation plan indicates brick, EIFS, aluminum, and glass. Please find attached the application, site plan, building elevations, material, square footages, and percentage table. City staff has reviewed the application and attachments and has determined that the proposed plans meet the development requirements of the UDO. Staff recommends that the mayor and council place the development plan on the consent agenda for approval. Are there any further questions?
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Just a note to council and mayor, I believe it's on page number 7 of our information. You will notice that this development is actually encompassing 2 previously used buildings, one for a local bank and the other for, I think at one time, an Amco transmission shop. So there's 2 pieces of property that are being combined there at the corner of Durley and Highway 92. To give you an idea of where this is. Mr. Thompson, all of the elevation information that we have here as far as QT is concerned, that's basically the new model that they're using.
That's correct.
There's
Yes,
nothing
sir.
really different than the facade or the rebuild that they did on Fairburn Road.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Similar
sorry,
to
Chapel
what we see
Hill
on
Road.
Chapel Hill Road, yes,
Okay.
sir.
And the one on Fairburn Road on the south side of I-20.
Yes.
Okay. Questions, comments, any information? Gee. They have and everything is according to our UDO, and your staff has reviewed all the plans and everything according to the UDO is in order?
Yes, sir.
And you all are recommending that we place it on the consent agenda. That keeps me from having to ask it. Is that your request?
Yes, sir.
Question, comment? How do you all feel? Yes, Coach.
It seems like when we talked about this, this is where the old Regis bank on.
That is correct.
And one of the issues was, at the time, drainage. I'm assuming that all of that got squared away.
I appreciate you mentioning that. Let me ask Mr. Thompson a question. On page number, on page number 5, there seems to be a checkerboard area in the front between Highway 92 and the store building. Is that actually underground retention area? Because I do not see a surface retention pond.
Yes, they are proposing an underground.
So they are
detention.
providing it underground.
Yes.
It would be a similar situation to what we have with Regions Bank now as far as entrance. You'll have a right in, right out for Regions, and then you'll have a complete entrance and exit on Dearly Lane.
Yes.
Okay.
That's going to be a happening
Yes, sir.
intersection there with
Yes, it
Chick-fil-A
is.
on the
Already,
corner.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's already
is.
happening.
Anyway.
Any other comments or questions? What's your pleasure on placing this on the consent agenda as staff has requested? I have no
good.
problem with it. Could we do that, please? Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Thompson.
you.
Appreciate it. All right, item C. Authorize the mayor to sign a temporary construction easement and restoration agreement on behalf of the city of Douglasville, granting to SL Douglas II LLC a temporary construction easement in, on, over, under, across, and through 4.13 acres, more or less, of the West Pines Golf Course for the purpose of construction and installation of a sewer line and subsequent restoration to the extent of stabilization of the disturbed land and application of seed and straw. Ms. Jordan, our staff, our city attorney, is going to help us with that issue.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Forgive me because I am new. I believe that this matter has been discussed in committees with you all before, so, okay, I'm seeing good head nods here. Mr. Dodson was able to negotiate this agreement on behalf of the mayor and council, and so we're asking now for authorization for the mayor to just sign the official easement agreement. The grantee has already signed it, and the negotiated amount was $275,000 to the city for use of the West Pines Golf Course for the installation of a sanitary sewer easement extension. Do you guys have any questions about that?
I do, Ms. Jordan. I just want to make sure, I had asked some of the staff at West Pines during our July 4th fireworks celebration last week, when that work, if they knew when that work was scheduled to be done. Do you have any information as to that date or those dates as far as how that will coincide with our busy schedule and busy season at the golf course?
Good question. So if you'll go to page 3 of the attachment.
Okay.
If you have that in front of you.
Yes.
November 15th, 2022 will be the commencement date. It will not commence earlier than that, and it will be completed no later than February 28th, 2023.
I apologize for not seeing that. Thank you, Ms. Jordan.
It's in the weeds in there.
Mr. Bass, did you have something?
Yes, sir. Just to add, we have finished our last season, our last tournament for the season, so we are good with that date.
Okay, good. Everyone's in agreement with that. Thank you. All right, then we're ready to go forward upon the mayor's signature. Correct? Yes, Madam Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Attorney Miranda and our Parks Director, Mr. Bass. So hole number 5 is going to be the one they're going to work on, hole number 5. I know we finished the PGA women's tournament last week, but we still have people that play golf, throughout the time. So what are we going to do with them? Like I told you, my brother plays with orange balls in Ohio in the snow. So people some love golf. They just do it all year round. So what are we going to do, Mr. Bass?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question for me?
Is hole number 5 that's going to be disturbed?
Yes,
while
ma'am,
they're
just hole
doing
number 5.
The construction. So what are we going to do? Will we direct them to another hole, or how's that going to work? Do they still have 18 holes to play?
Yes, ma'am. So we're actually going to provide a discounted rate because you won't be able to play the entire course. So there's a discounted rate for that inconvenience.
Okay, so just one hole, or are you going to?
Yes, ma'am. Just
number
that
5?
one hole.
Okay,
Yep.
Sounds good. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Bass. Appreciate you helping us with that.
Okay. No
I
problem.
believe that we had discussed that in some of our discussions and trying to come up with what to do in that area, and I'm glad to see the time frame that this will be done in, because it is in the cooler winter months.
Yeah.
Okay. Question, comment, anyone else?
I believe part of that compensation amount was to kind of allay some of those reductions in costs that Mr. Bassett
Yeah.
had mentioned.
Yes, that is correct, it was. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, is there a possibility we can place this item on the consent agenda?
Looks
Thank you.
good.
All righty. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank
We have one other item.
Yes, sir.
Reappoint Mr. Mark Van to serve as Ward 2, Post 1 member of the Douglasville Planning Commission for a 5-year term expiring June 1st, 2027. Ms. Jackson?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street. Mr. Mark Van wishes to be reappointed. If you all remember, he served an initial term of about 2 years, starting in September of 2020. He's the Ward 2 Post 1 appointment, and he's recommended by Councilwoman Miller. So the next term will be for a 5-year term expiring in 2026, or 2027, my apologies.
He was filling an unexpired term of someone else. Is that correct, Ms. Jackson?
No, sir. If you recall, we changed the ordinance
We
for the
changed the
Planning
ordinance,
Commission.
that's
Yes,
correct.
sir.
Well, being that he's not here, then we should quickly reappoint him if we choose to, even though you've told us he wanted to be back on. Questions, comments? Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson. Could we hurry that along and place that on the consent agenda for Monday?
Catch him
Thank
before
you.
he finds out. Huh?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have tonight under our Planning and Development Committee. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I know that a council member had to recuse herself, so I will ask for Mayor Pro Tem to take Public Improvement and Beautification Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's no business at this time under the Public Improvement and Beautification Committee.
Thank you so much. Public Relations Committee. Oh, I suggest I'm right here. Public Relations Committee, Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Public Relations Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on then to Public Safety Committee, chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am, Mayor, I have a couple, but at this time, I would advise that the public hearing would take place on Monday due to the item being tabled, and anyone wishes to speak can do so on Monday under citizen comments Thursday night, okay?
I'm confused. Tell me again now. We can't have city manager?
The item that is tabled is the public hearing?
Yes.
So because the public hearing is tabled, it wouldn't take place until Monday.
Okay.
So he's suggesting that if you have comments to place in the public hearing, you can do so on Monday, or you can have your comments as citizen comments at the end of the meeting.
Okay, so we're not going to do anything about the item?
It's a tabled item. We have to remove it from the table in order to have the public hearing.
Monday night.
Which has to be done on
Okay.
That'll be done on Monday night.
Legislative session.
Okay, moving right along to item B.
Anything tonight?
Authorize the city staff to apply for a 2022 burn grant in the amount of $21,513 from the United States Department of Justice for the Public Department. Chief Sparks?
As Mayor and Council, this is a burn grant with no matching funds for $21,513. We're looking to buy a message board, a sign, and a trailer with the full graphics. It's similar to what you see for GDOT when they directing traffic or putting up signage. We just trying to get prepared for town green, so we get these types of things coming in, and so we have them on ready when we get that area now finished. And you could put different types of signage on the board, and so we want to go ahead and get that with this money.
Chief, would this be placed out at the PD department, the message board, reader board?
Place it at the PD and put out some information that we're having, and we could put it downtown city of Douglasville and show directions that we want traffic to go in, and we could put different types of messages on it. If we're having an event downtown, we'll be able to move it around because it's coming with a trailer, so we'll be
Okay, so it's gonna be mobile, that's what I want to, okay, good, thank
It's
you.
battery and solar operated, so, we probably gonna end up needing to get one or two more. But
Okay.
since we got this burn grant, we get these grants in that we can purchase them straight up with the grant.
Okay, question from the mayor and council? If not, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday.
Looks like a go, Councilman Davis.
Okay. So all I have, Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Councilman Davis. And I just want to, did we tell the Silver Links Enterprise LLC, or were they represented there tonight, that they weren't supposed to come in? I hate they came all the way here. Okay, I apologize. You have to come to the microphone and just give us your name and address. You don't have to present tonight. I just wanted to, we're not going to have a public hearing. I just wanted to.
Sorry about that. Porsche, 8440 Courthouse Square East, Douglasville, 30134. But I was just saying that, yes, at the hearing where it was tabled, we were told to come on the 14th, so we didn't know it would actually be Monday.
Okay, well, I apologize for having an inconvenience, you coming out and sitting through the entire meeting and not having your item being heard. But for technicality and legal, we can't do the public hearing because it's tabled until Monday. Okay. So I apologize for the confusion.
And then one question, on Monday, will we be able to speak then as well, or is it more so just a voting?
No, the hearing will be held on Monday.
Okay,
so you can talk then.
Gotcha.
You can
Thank
bring
you.
your comments. You're welcome. And again, we apologize for the inconvenience.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have two items tonight. Item A is authorize the mayor to accept and execute an estimated proposal with Autumn Landscape Company LLC for landscaping work to be completed at West Pines Golf Course Maintenance Facility. Mr. Thompson.
Marcus Thompson, City Engineer, 6701 Church Street. All right, so we're looking to proceed with the renovations of our maintenance facility at West Pines Golf Course. One of those improvements includes the new landscaping near the golf hole that's in front of that facility. So Autumn Landscape provided us with the proposal that's before you tonight, which includes the removal of approximately 4,800 square feet of asphalt. It also includes grade work to install a 3 to 4 foot berm along the driveway of the maintenance shop to expand the chipping area of the golf hole in front of the facility. And lastly, it includes dense planting to limit visibility of the maintenance facility from the play area. So are there any additional questions or concerns that you have regarding the proposal?
Any questions or comments from council? So the asphalt you're talking about, I guess it's kind of gravel down there around the building. So you talk about asphalting all of that area there, or?
Yes, sir. And it's shown on the, I attached the drawings, which shows exactly where the asphalt is being removed.
Okay.
And that location is basically where they're going to install like the 3 to 4 foot berm, so that we can install like evergreens that will kind of limit the visibility of that facility from the play area, basically.
Okay. Questions or comments? No. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. If it would be all right with council, I'd place this on the consent agenda.
I don't see anyone nodding.
Okay.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Item B is to reappoint Councilman Howard Estes as the Post 1 member of the Douglasville Public Art Commission for a 4-year term ending July 1st, 2026. Are you here to speak on how Councilman Estes'
Amazing,
behalf,
amazing.
I'm pretty sure he could speak on behalf of himself, but I will lay out the groundwork. Good afternoon, Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street. Much like Mr. Van, Councilman Estes served an initial term that started in October of 2020, since the Public Arts Commission was new. He's seeking a reappointment to serve as the Post 1 member, which is a council member. It'll be a 4-year term ending June 1st, 2026.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I don't see his resume on the backup material. Has he been fully vetted?
The shade.
I'm staying out of that one. First of all, appreciate Mr. Estes.
I was going to say, unless the rest of the council wants to fight me for it.
No, you can have it.
No, we're good. We appreciate you doing it, and you're doing a good job there. And anybody else have anything? We're going to place this on the consent agenda also. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Madam Mayor, that's all I had tonight under Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and Assistant City Manager, Ms. Jackson. We'll move on then to item number 15, which is Technology Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
You're
one
welcome.
item under the Technology Committee tonight, and that is to authorize the mayor to sign the First Amendment to the July 6, 2021 lease between the City of Douglasville and New Singular Wireless PCS LLC in order for additional telecommunications equipment to be placed on the leased property located at 6740 West Spring Street, Douglasville, Georgia 30134, and with some amount of transparency, just to be noted that my property is adjacent to this site. So if anybody has any objections to me sitting in on this, not that it affects me in any way that I'm aware of, but just thought that we should have transparency on that. Ms. Karen Knight will give us an explanation as to what this means.
Hi, good evening. Karen
Good
Knight,
evening.
Communications Coordinator with the Douglasville Police Department, 2083 Fairburn Road. AT&T is coming in to replace their equipment that's on our Spring Street Tower, to replace it with some new upgraded equipment. Simple.
That's about as succinct as you can get.
Yes.
Are there any comments or questions regarding the matter? All right. I don't think there's much more to say about it. Thank you. Unless there's any objections, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda. No? So moved. Thank you, Ms. Knight. Madam Mayor, that's all we have under the Technology Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Ms. Karen. We appreciate you lasting the meeting to give us that information. We'll move on then to Transportation Committee. The Vice Chair is Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller, please, if you don't mind taking these couple of items.
Not a problem. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have two items under the Transportation Committee at this time, and that first is to appoint Stanley Marantis to serve as the city's appointee on the Douglas County Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee to fill an unexpired term expiring January 31st, 2024. Ms. Chelsea Jackson.
Good afternoon, Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street. Mr. Morantis is seeking to fill an unexpired term, which was previously held by Ms. April McCowan. Stanley currently serves as the Senior Project Manager, and he came in and he filled the role of the City Liaison to the Bike and Ped Committee once Ms. McCowan departed. And he'll be filling an unexpired term that'll be expiring in 2024.
Okay.
Any questions, comments? I'm going to read the second item and put it together with this first item, which is to reappoint Mr. George Boulino as the city's appointee to the Douglas County Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, term expiring January 31st, 2024. Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Mr. Boulino, he is seeking reappointment as well. He served as the city appointee. He served as the appointee for a few years now. He's been present at every meeting, and he'll be reappointed for a 2-year term expiring in 2024.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none on either of those items, if it is the council's will, I'd like to place them both on the consent agenda for Monday. It is done. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. That is all we have under the Transportation Committee at this time, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair and Ms. Jackson. We appreciate you presenting that information to us. Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from the elected body?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilman Davis?
Yes, in other business, I'd like to call Ms. Callan up to the podium if she don't mind. Hate to put you on the spot.
Our
there,
Finance
young lady.
Director.
Just for legal, I would like to know, was the client contacted?
Yes, sir. Karen Callan, Finance Director, 6695 Church Street. And we did contact Crew this afternoon and let them know that the public hearing would be Monday. But I was just texting back and forth with my staff that actually talked to her. And I believe there might have been some confusion with the item being tabled, but we did let them know that the public hearing was going to be on Monday. But, and so when I saw them tonight, I thought maybe they wanted to speak under citizen comment. So I didn't mention anything to them.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all.
Okay, because there were 6 people. That was I just hate to have people come out for no reason. That was a whole group. But just one person maybe miscommunicated and to everyone else or didn't get the information correctly.
I understand. I agree.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up, Councilman Davis. It's okay to even apologize for them coming, but it's...
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Callan. That's all you had, Mr. Davis? Okay. I had a couple of things. We talked about for the maintenance facility of the golf course, and Mr. Thompson brought that information to us, and they were pouring concrete. I know we did have some concerns in some of the meetings that we had. City manager brought to my attention about the inside of the golf course with eatery. I know we eat outside. Do we rearrange the area so that we can have a place for golfers to have something, a snack or whatever, a sandwich inside?
Yes, ma'am. That is a plan that we're currently working on with Public Services, Mr. Roberts, and Community Development under Ms. Reed to make sure that we're developing a plan and make sure we go through all of the correct permitting process to redesign or provide additional space for eatery inside the facility.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much, Mr. Bass. I appreciate that.
I was kind of disappointed that we lost the grill in there. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
That was a nice little feature to have. So.
For hot dogs and hamburgers or whatever. Yeah. And it's kind of warm, so you don't want people eating outside in heat. Okay. And the other thing was I'll ask Mr. Nicholas Donis to come forward and just, I'm not going to really put you on the spot, but I am putting you on the spot. This is the intern for the mayor's office. He wasn't here when the other interns were hired, and so he has come later. And I just wanted you just to give a little bit, talk about yourself a little bit. I know you are at Georgia State University. You're a Panther. He's will graduate in spring of 2023 with a marketing, minor in marketing and a bachelor in arts and economics. And so if you just tell us about yourself and how you're enjoying school, and this is your first full week in the mayor's office, so.
Yes. So Nicholas Donis,
yes,
9439 Woodlawn Drive. Pretty nerve-wracking. Not the best at public speaking, but it's been an honor to be able to observe, and really it sparks my interest to see everything, the mechanisms going on. And I'm enjoying my time here, my first week in getting settled in, getting my desk. That was very rewarding to get all my stuff hooked up and everything. Really just to see where I can get plugged in and learn and observe. It's been an honor to be able to experience that, so thank you.
You're welcome. And Mr. Donis, if you tell us about your high school that you went to and criminal justice pathway in high school that you completed.
So I had the opportunity to experience two high schools in this county, both New Manchester and Douglas County High School, which is where I graduated from, spending 2 years at each. So I was able to kind of delve my foot into a lot of different experiences of Douglas County, see a lot of different perspectives, areas, and people. So, and part of that was I completed my criminal justice pathway, which unfortunately I think no longer exists at Douglas County. I was one of the last classes to participate in that pathway and actually graduate with my core having passed certification. So it was just a great experience to participate in programs offered at both high schools. And today I get to experience, I get to go back to New Manchester, my first high school, with the welcoming of the teachers of 2023. And so it was just honored to see an update on my high school and how they are obviously progressing and how they are offering new things to the students that are coming up. So.
Yes, sir. Well, we are excited to have you, and we have some other folks on the council whose son maybe attends Georgia State as well, and council members that were Panthers.
Congratulations on choosing an excellent college to go to. My son will be graduating in December.
It was my first choice, Georgia State.
Well, he actually, you said you went to Douglas County High School?
Yes,
He
I graduated in 2017.
He did as well, so you guys are following parallel paths, apparently.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Nicholas, and we appreciate you. He beat me to the school. I know you are laughing inside. But he was there an hour before I got to the school. I was like, wow, that's really, you were eager. So we're excited to have you in the mayor's office during your internship and wish you the best. I just want to introduce you to the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, so any other business to come before council tonight from the elected body? If not, we'll move on then to our updates from city staff. Our city attorney is in here, so our staff attorney, Ms. Attorney Miranda Johnson.
No business today, but I did want to say that Mr. Dodson sends his regards from Florida.
All right, get some rays, some sun.
He's enjoying himself.
Yes, sir, much needed vacation. Our Chief of Police, Chief Gary Sparks.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I know it's been a tough week this week, Chief, but we appreciate the police department and your professionalism and your police work. As we know, we've had a tragedy in our community this week, and there's a show on TV that's called 48 Hours, and you got it done in 12 hours, so we appreciate that. Yes, sir. Our city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
The Assistant City Manager has sent you all a copy of the full report for the paving conditions report. If you all want to take a look at that, it's very extensive, and it goes into the methodology as far as how the streets are rated. Also, the SPLOS report, the executive summary will be edited with the changes that you all recommended, and we will send that over to Douglas County tomorrow. And then the final information that I have is we will need to go into executive session. Part of your executive session will include a presentation from someone external to the city of Douglasville, so I would recommend that that portion of the executive session be held first.
Okay. Thank you so much, City Manager. So now we're down to item number 19, which is comments from citizens and delegates. If you sustain the meeting and you'd like to speak to us, we ask that you would come forward to the podium and give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to myself and council members about anything that's germane to the city of Douglasville, business of the city. We don't have any takers. All right. So we'll move on to item number 20, which is executive session. So I'll open the floor to receive a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss property acquisition and potential litigation after a short recess. Thank you so much, Councilman Alves. I have a motion. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved in second to adjourn into executive session to discuss property acquisition and potential litigation. All those in favor of adjourning to executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourning to executive session after a short recess.